So hello and welcome to Let's Talk SEO. Technical SEO is the most important foundation for ranking a website. If your technical SEO is not great, regardless of how many backlinks you build or regardless of how great your content is, it will never rank. Or even if it does, it will not rank to its full potential. Okay. So before I do anything else for a client or even for my own sites, I start with technical SEO. So in this video, I'm going to walk through the steps that I take to do the foundational technical SEO for just about any website that I'm working on. I'll show you the tools. I'll show you my exact process. Now, it's entirely up to you how you want to follow this process. But I usually start with setting an XML sitemap, a robust text file, running an audit, going through the audit and fixing the issues in those audits. So whether it's a redirect chain, whether it's a 301 redirect loop, whether it's multiple redirects that are sucking resources, or if there are 404 pages being internally linked to. All of those issues make up the foundation of your technical SEO, which we will cover in this video. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Okay, so this is my test website, and I test quite a few things on this website. It does not sell anything. Anything you see over here sold is just a drop shipping site that I've set up to test a few things. So I'm going to show you guys on this site, like exactly how I work through the technical SEO stuff. So we will cover a lot of ground, and I'll show you practically how things are done in the most easiest way possible. And this is where I usually test a lot of the stuff that I learn in SEO. I have a few other sites just like this one, and it's used for testing purposes. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to use this website as an example to demonstrate how to set up the technical SEO. But the first thing is whenever you're getting into and you're going to start working on a website, and this is WordPress, by the way, you start by checking whether or not the website has a robot.txt file. So you put a / and you'll do robots.txt and we'll take a look. So I have a robots.txt file set up. We'll go ahead and show you how to set this robots.txt file. And mainly the job of the robot.txt file is to tell Google what it can and cannot crawl. Because you don't want Google to crawl every inch of your website. You just want Google to crawl the most important pages and the least important pages, or any other types of pages that are usually generated by users and other stuff. You probably don't want to have those indexed or crawled because it sucks up a lot of your crawl budget. And the larger your website becomes, the harder it becomes for Google to find the more important pages that you want to rank. So what I use a plugin called Virtual Robots Text File. So this is the plugin I use. And over here, this is the one, Virtual Robots Text. This is by Marios Alexandro. And go ahead and install this one. Now, I must say that there are loads of others, and they all pretty much do the same thing. This is just the one I'm using on this specific site. On other sites, I test different plugins. So if it's free and it gives you access to adding a robust text file, that's perfectly okay. It's just that you shouldn't have multiple plugins that add a robust text, and then each one has a different instruction, because that can cause a whole different set of issues. And so you'll have to go back here to see which one is being used. So just keep that in mind. So once you have this installed, you go to settings and you go to virtual robots text here on the left. And then here is how the robot text file looks. Now, a little bit of insight into how this is done is, here's a user agent. So this is the user agent command. Usually on WordPress, there are a few things you want to disallow. I usually disallow the WP admin. So that's right away. I don't want Google to crawl the WP includes. And then I will allow a few things, for instance, and I also don't want Google to crawl the feeds. So this one, I wouldn't allow Google to crawl. Um, I have a few different instructions here for feeds because I'm testing a few different things. But for feed, this one you can use over here, you can use over here. And also, again, since this is testing, so this is slightly different from what you might want to do, but I'm also disallowing the CGI bin, WP admin, XML, PC, PHP, and the trackback. So you can just go ahead and just disallow all of these for user agent, Googlebot, or just user agent in general. So that's the first thing. The next thing you want to do is you want to have a an XML sitemap / and we'll do Sitemap.xml. So this is the XML sitemap, and this has been generated by RankMath. Now, I must caution you guys here is whether you're using RankMath, Yoast, whatever, I'm not a big fan of using plugins, though it makes these things a lot easier. On larger sites, like you have 1,000+ pages, if you have a site that's between 1,000 and 2,000 pages, um, a manual sitemap works a lot better, which I'll show you later on in the video. But if you're using WordPress and you don't want to go to the trouble of creating a manual sitemap, and your website is larger, it's like 5,000-6,000 pages and above, then you'll use a plugin, and that's a lot more convenient. So if you go back here, this is the Rank Math tool, and it's very simple setting up a sitemap. You just go to dashboard here. And by the way, Rank Math is free. There's a free version, a paid version. The free version allows you to add an XML sitemap. And so I'll just do a Control F. Okay. And here's the different types of sitemaps you can choose. There's a news sitemap, if you have news related content. And then this is a regular sitemap. All you need to do is just turn this on over here, and your sitemap is on. Okay. So you don't have to worry about anything else. Just install the plugin and turn this on. And once that's done, it takes some time. It develops a sitemap for you, and this is how it looks. We're here in my favorite tool, which is SEO ranking, and it's my favorite for two reasons. The first being that over the years I've paid for it, and I'm now very familiar with using the tool. And I find that it's almost as good, if not in some cases better than more expensive tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs. Now, that is just my opinion, and that may not necessarily be your opinion or the opinion of other SEOs. But at $65 a month and a 14-day trial, I mean, you can't get better than this. And over the years, I spent a lot of money on tools, but I found that if you're gonna do audits, if you're gonna track keywords, if you're gonna do keyword research, backlinks, pull all of that stuff up, this tool does all of that for less of a price, and the limits are a lot more generous. Um, so it's really up to you, like what tool you use. I find that this is even what most people watching this channel will keep asking me, like, whether you should use SEMrush or Ahrefs. We can't afford Ahrefs. We can't afford SEMrush, which is like over $100 a month. What should we do? Blah, blah, blah. Use this tool right off the bat. So what I'd like to start with is an audit. And so I'm going to audit um, my website to figure out what's going wrong with the site, and then we will go through the technical fixes that the audit recommends. We're going to start with this URL. So this is the website we're going to audit. I'm going to check first thing is the robots text. I just want to see what type of SEO they've been doing. So they are using the Yoast SEO plugin, which means that they're probably not doing any real SEO. The other thing I like to check before I carry out a technical audit is also check their sitemap. So all you do is Sitemap.xml. Looks like they have an XML sitemap, but they have quite a few. So they have a main XML sitemap. Then they have these over here. So these are generated by Yoast, and Yoast usually does this type of sitemap structure, of which I'm not a big fan of. It works with larger sites, but this right here, if you're a small site, does not work great. It's actually not a great way. It's not a great not great from a technical SEO standpoint. So I wouldn't do this. If I have a small site, and a small site, by small site I mean under 2,000 pages, you don't want to use yours to generate your XML sitemap. You want to do it yourself. Okay. So anyways, so what I'm going to do is, so this is the site that we're going to audit. And I know that by looking at this, they haven't done any real SEO. So the first step for technical SEO audit is to pull up a tool. So generally you'll use a tool like Screaming Frog, Sidebowl, those types of tools. The problem with those types of tools is they're advanced. Their setting them up is a little advanced, which is why I use SE ranking as a first step to figuring out what's wrong with the website technically, and then just fixing those issues with the website. So once you log into SE ranking, you click over on the left over here. There's a section that says audit. You click the audit, and then you click the button over here. I'll show you guys a button over here. So once you click audit, it loads up running your existing audits, and then over here, you can click new audit. So you click new audit, and you enter in the domain. So we're going to do a domain level audit. So this is the domain. It's www. So we've got this covered. Audit name, let's do pet careers, and we will just leave it in the general group. We'll also choose a bot. Now, when it comes to bots, obviously you want to see what Google is seeing, okay? So you want to choose the Google bot. Now, there's an exception to this. If you're trying to do a technical audit of the images on the site, figuring out why they're not ranking, or you're trying to do for Bing or whatever, then you'll choose the bot, choose the right bot. In our case, we'll just choose Googlebot because we just want to do Googlebot. Now over here we have this thing that says JavaScript rendering, client-side rendering. Um, you can choose this to be off, or you can turn it on. The difference is if you turn it off, it's not going to render the page in JavaScript. So if there are JavaScript related issues, it's not going to be picked up. If you turn it on, it will render the page as a client sees it, or as users see it. So all pages are rendered in your browser, and so you'll see the post-rendered code instead of just the HTML. I like to turn this on, but this also slows down the audit a little bit. Over here, it's got disallow URLs. So if there are URLs you do not want to crawl, you can add them here. And if they are blocked URLs that you want to crawl, you can add them to these boxes. So this is where you put in the pages that you want to allow. These are the pages you do not want to allow, and these are the pages you want to hide from the crawl. I'll leave this as is because I want to crawl the whole website. And then you click on the run audit underneath that. It takes a while for the audit to run. I'll go ahead, I'll pause the video and then get back to when this is completed. So the audit finally completed, and surprisingly, this website has a pretty good score. So one of the problems with SE ranking is, and this is I've seen with all tools, whether you're using Ahrefs or SEMrush, or even if you're using Screaming Frog or Sitebulb, whatever you're using, um, this is something that can be a little bit deceiving, because an 86 score would imply that this website has a very good technical standing in terms of technical SEO. But that may not be the case, because there are some issues that are uh, of a more of an SEO problem, and by fixing them, you'll see a much larger SEO boost, and then there are some that are not. So all of these issues are not equal. And as I go through the audit, I'll show you like what exactly I'm talking about, and also run through the steps of technical SEO that you should implement as a first step in your SEO process. Okay, so once the audit is complete, you see all of this. It says you've got 151 errors, you've got 885 warnings, and you've got 2,385 notices. So it's actually a pretty small site. It has under 500 pages according to this. It says pages scrolled is 386. So under 500 pages, so it's not a large site. And so the issues are not going to, you're not going to see as many issues, and which is why, again, this is misleading. Uh, I'll go through why. So it says external JavaScript with 3xx, 4xx, or 5xx. What this typically means is, maybe click here and I'll show you. If you see these problems, and this is a list of, like, if you click the problem, this is SE ranking provides you with a full list of issues, and you can choose the issues that are categorized very well. But this is something you don't see with other audits, and this is part of your subscription. You don't have to pay separately for it, which is why I use this subscription. The first thing I'm interested in when I'm diving into something like that is the redirects, and the reason why I'm interested in redirects is because uh, usually people get this wrong. So someone would put in a redirect, and then that redirect will be redirected to another page. So what ends up being is a chain redirect. Also, you shouldn't have redirects for a very long time on your website. And this helps detect those redirects and those redirect chains and those issues with redirects. So if your redirects are not set up correctly, you will have problems. So it says redirect loop. This is where we're in. Fixing this is a simple matter of breaking the loop. Um, and if you click here, it says remove redirects so that the page returns a status 200. So it explains how to fix the issue. So it's not just reporting the issue. It's also, you know, telling you what the issue is. And a redirect loop is from A to B and then B back to A. So that's pretty much a redirect loop. Then you have these over here, and these are also redirect issues. So over here you have 3x HTTP status code, which means, so what this means is that you've got way more 3xs status codes or redirects uh, than are required, and that puts a load on your servers. That's especially a problem if you if you have shared hosting, and if you have a dedicated host, then that's not so much of an issue. The recommended is 5%. I usually err on the side of 2%. Yeah, but 5% is probably the upper limit. So if you have more than 5% of these 3xx, you might want to revisit and remove status code, some of those redirects. If you've set it up in WordPress, then you would have set it up through a Yoast plugin, which is easy to remove, or you might have used some other plugin. So you just go ahead and remove the redirect. So it's as simple as that, and that will fix a lot of those issues that you're facing with your SEO. So once you click this 6 over here, it opens up a list of pages that have these issues. So all of these pages over here have a redirect issue. Now, if you look closely, you will see that you also have a lot of these types of URLs, and these types of URLs where you have this PDF, PDF, PDF. These URLs are crawled. So these should be treated just as you would treat an HTML URL. And so if these are 301 redirecting, break the redirect chain uh, and update it. So these are files for 2022. So probably these were redirected back in 2022. So you will have to fix this. And if you fix this, this in itself gives you a huge SEO boost, just because it makes crawling the site a lot easier for Google's crawlers, and the rendering it is a lot less resource intensive, which is something Google wants. The next one is the sitemap. Now, the first step to your technical SEO should be to set up a sitemap that you can use to build your own sitemap. If you're using Yoast, Yoast does it for you. In this case, Yoast has done this. So Yoast has built a sitemap. I'm not a big fan of it, but if you're using the Yoast plugin, the RatMap plugin, that will do it for you. If you don't, then you can use this plugin. You can use this website. So this is the site you can use. And if you go back to our example over here, the URL, hit start, and it will go ahead and scan all the pages on your site and build a sitemap. That all you've got to do is go ahead and upload the sitemap to your website. Okay, so once this is finished running, we'll come back to this, but we'll go to the audit. We'll step back to the audit and see what else is being reported and how to fix it. The next one is the meta tags. Now, a lot of people emphasize the SEO stress about the meta tags. The meta tags are important, but they're not as important. So if you're missing a meta description, it wouldn't impact your rankings, but it will impact your click-through rates. Okay, if you're missing an H1, it's not going to impact your rankings, but it will impact it slightly because you're not positioning that page correctly. So what you want to see is in terms of priority. So the H1 should all be there. The title should all be there. Uh, it being too long is not an issue. It's only that it gets tourniqueted towards the end, so you might want to shorten it. If there's a title tag missing, you will want to fix that. Make sure there should be no title tags missing, unless there is. That's done deliberately. Meta descriptions should all be there, but meta descriptions are not a ranking factor and has really little to do with technical SEO. That has more to do with general SEO, on-page SEO. But we just want to make sure that all of these over here are green. The pages that are missing a meta description, just click on the number and it will give you a list of pages. Go ahead, if you're using WordPress, you just go into WordPress, go visit this page, click edit, and add a meta description to the page. It's just that simple. We're going to skip content because there's nothing at 0.0 localization, is nothing JavaScript. Okay, this is where we get into the meat of the technical SEO, and this is where I see a lot of issues. So over here, this is the page with issues, and it reports a 404. Okay, and this 404 has 364 referring pages, which means that there are 364 pages that are pointing to this page, all right, this dead page. When you click here, this will open a full list of pages that are internally linking to this dead page, which is a 404 page. And what this does is it forces Google. So whenever Google crawls these pages, it forces Google to crawl these 404 pages. Okay, so that's something that sucks up your crawl budget. It makes crawling your website a lot more expensive. It makes ranking because of that a lot harder. So that right off the bat, you want to go to these pages, and I'll show you what to do. So you go here, for instance, you go over here. So this is one of the pages that's pointing to a 404. Okay. So we'll go here and we'll click on, we'll take a look at this. So this is one of the URLs where the issue is reported. It's being reported. Okay. We'll copy this. All right. So the first thing we do is copy and paste this into a window to see if this is a false positive or if this is working. Now, in this case, since this is an API pull, this is working, the page displays correctly. So this is a false positive. So you always want to check before you start looking at source code and stuff like that, is whether it's a real problem or if it's a false positive. In this case, this was a false positive. We'll take a look at the next one. So most of these have Google Maps related. So there's probably a plugin that's using Google Maps on this site that is reporting these 404. So probably not as big of a problem, but these 364 pages that have the plugin, the webmaster might want to check like why is that plugin generating these. So that will require something to go into the backend and check. I think there's maybe a Google Maps plugin that's being used here, and that's reporting this. But this will only be visible in the rendered JavaScript and not in the source code necessarily. So again, so over here, so JavaScript is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Everything else over here, though, we have this minified notice. We have this cached. So they're probably using a cache system, which is fine. Too many JavaScript files. This is something that a developer can fix, but this depends. Again, if you're using too many plugins on a WordPress site, this is usually a problem that needs to be addressed, because even if you're removing those plugins, many of them will leave behind JavaScript files. But this will require a lot more technical SEO than what this video is about. Next thing is CSS. So this is okay. Links. So no inbound links. So these is okay. So that's not necessarily an issue. Internal links to 3xx redirect pages. So if you click here, the 133 pages, so out of 360 plus pages, 1/3 of them approximately are pages that are linking to redirected pages. So what this means is this page over here links to these two pages that redirect, okay? So if you open one of these, you will see that this page, so this is the author, Joe S. So this redirected to the home page. Right out of the bat, you can see that there was a redirect from that page to the home page. So if this was to redirect to the home page, sorry, oh yeah, then the link should directly go to the home page. It shouldn't link to a page that then links to the home page. And the easiest way to find this is to go to this URL. I'll show you how to do this in Chrome because it's a lot easier than having to do this in Safari. So we hop onto Chrome. This is the source of the page, and all you need to do is do a Control F like I did, paste the URL that's redirecting, and it will show you. Now this is the URL highlighted, and this is the anchor text. So all you need to do is go to the page in WordPress, go to this anchor text over here, and change this so that it doesn't go to this URL, which is redirecting, but goes to the home page. That's all you need to do. You do this for all of these pages that are linking to assets or internal links that are redirecting. And this alone itself has a huge impact on your SEO. I mean, I would say if there's one thing I would do, if you would say technical SEO wise, what's the one thing you will do to see the most results? This is what I will do, is to fix the internal linking. In a similar vein, we have this. We have external links to 4xx pages. This means that's like over here, these links were going to pages that were redirecting. The links from these pages are going to pages that are 403s, which is an error page, which means the page has been temporarily removed or permanently removed. So we don't want links to go to these pages because they've been removed, because what Google does is it comes onto these pages and tries to crawl them well, the things that these pages are relevant. When it goes see the 403 or 404, that tells Google that the quality of this website isn't great, and over time, it will reduce your crawl budget. You'll see fewer crawls, and that has an SEO impact. So again, similar to that, we go to the page, view HTML, copy and paste the URL, find the offending URL or the anchor text and remove it. As simple as that. and everything else is fine. So this is like the basics of doing your technical SEO. Finally, we'll go to where this was created. So this is the sitemap. It's finished creating. It scanned 419 pages, added 356 pages. This is done. So we can do a view sitemap details, and we can just download the sitemaps. We download it over here. You can do a view full HTML sitemap. So this is like the best sitemap for a small site, because then Google doesn't have to crawl each sitemap individually. So one way is to generate the sitemap via the website I showed you. So if you're not using WordPress, you can download the sitemap and upload it to your site. But just make sure it's within the root directory. Just copy and paste in the root directory of your site, and that's pretty much it. Now, there's a lot more that I can go into when it comes to technical SEO, but this is where you'd want to start. This is how you'd want to make sure that your site is at a good standing, even if you're just setting it up from the very beginning. But if you're starting, if you have a client, you get a client, this is where you want to start. You just want to fix these issues as a first step. Then you move on to more complex items. Take a look, do a screaming frog crawl. You check what else is wrong with the site. For instance, where Google is crawling directories where it shouldn't crawl, where you're having problems in terms of now Google running into pages that are 404 pages, but in fact it's not a 404. So those are referred to as soft 404s. Also, where content is not visible to Google. So all of those, that's like advanced technical SEO. But this is like the absolute basic, which you should start with.
I hope you guys find the video useful. Like and subscribe as always. Leave a comment below because it helps with the algorithm. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy ranking.